Hey everybody, happy Monday, Kit here, and welcome back to the Through the Veil Adam and Alice prequel. This is the Fate arc of that prequel, which is going on a little longer than I personally anticipated. But, what's kind of fun with this save and also the story is I kind of let the gameplay dictate some of my general plot. So, if something happens, I roll with the punches. If you guys, but yeah, and basically something happened, and I was like, you know what? Okay, game. All right, I'll go with you this time. So it'll be like one or probably this episode and then the next episode, and then after that we'll be back with Alice. So 2 episodes, not too horrible. I originally wanted it to be like 3, but that's okay. That is the timeline. But anyway, happy Monday. Hopefully you guys are doing well, and let's get into it. Evangeline had an unexpected visitor one early spring afternoon. The impolite banging on her tower disrupted her scrying attempts to find her elusive twin. Naturally, she had to go see who it was, and was rather shocked to find a highly annoyed teenager. Geez, finally, are you ready to go? Evie was very confused. She didn't know this young woman, but clearly she was supposed to? Good afternoon, young lady. Ready to go where? I'm sorry, I don't believe I know you. I am Daphne Papadopoulos, there we go, and you are supposed to be my mentor for the stupid charity program the high school's making me participate in. Her eyes narrowed suspiciously. You do know that starts this week, right? I'm not going to get in trouble for your forgetful nature, you know. Evie gave a slow, hopefully calming smile. She had indeed forgotten that she had volunteered for that program. It was a community initiative meant to connect high schoolers and even younger with mentors in the community. The mentor and mentee were supposed to come up with a plan that was some sort of charity work, like working on a community garden, baking and selling goods, anything, really. It was a lovely idea and one that Evie was totally for, but with Alice's situation and trying to get with her darn sister, she had forgotten. But honesty was always the best policy. I am so sorry, Daphne. Yes, I did forget that started this week, but that's all right. It is lovely to meet you. Evie stepped over to her yard table, motioning for Daphne to join her as she organized some of the goods. Let's start now. Do you have any ideas for what you would like for us to do for charity? Daphne huffed. Look, I'll be straight with you, lady. The only reason I'm here is because it was either this or detention. Evie nodded once, straightening collectibles in a nice line. I understand completely. At least Daphne was honest. Well, did your teachers give you any parameters for what you can do? Let's start from there and find something that is both interesting to you and doable for us both. Daphne ignored her question, deciding to ask one of her own. Wait, don't you want to know what I did? You were totally just chill with having a delinquent around? Evie looked over and smiled at her. Getting detention does not equal a delinquent, Daphne. But no, I do not need to know what you did. Although I will say it is nice of Principal Price to allow you to do this instead of detention for tripping the fire sprinklers during exams. Among other things, but Evie wasn't about to let Daphne know she knew that, or how. Having the sight was a wonderful little thing occasionally. Then again, sometimes it told her just how difficult things were about to be. Like how much Daphne did not want to be part of this program. Oh dear. Taking advantage of Daphne's clear shock, Evie continued. Alright, so the program is going on for the remainder of the school year. It is getting late, and you have a good little trek back to Newcrest, so let's exchange contact information. you think about what you would like to do. Perhaps something to do with baking? I am quite good at that. It also helped that Daphne's father was a chef, but Evie didn't let that little detail slip either. Okay, that's fine, I guess. I gotta turn something in this week anyways, the teen grumbled, but pulled her phone out. Do you have a social bunny? And this was how Evie found herself mentoring a teenager. It was decided that they were going to sell baked and cooked goods, then give that money to a local nursing home as a donation. Evie thought it was a wonderful cause, and Daphne just muttered, yeah, whatever, despite the fact that it was her idea. Daphne thought the whole tower thing was weird, complained that it gave weird vibes, but she did like to bake and cook. It was something the two could bond over. Even though Daphne was not a fan of having to take time out of her clearly very busy life and go shopping for ingredients, or the prep of lists for the ingredients and what all they would be cooking and how much, what the cost of ingredients versus the price to sell would be, etc., etc. But there were times that Evie saw sides of Daphne the girl didn't show often. The young woman who was rather friendly and wasn't too sure of herself. The one who was still exploring life and who loved her little siblings. So even though this took time away from far more pressing concerns, Evie still gave this young lady her time. Helping Daphne along her journey was worth the lack of sleep Evie was getting, staying up later to try and help Alice, trying and failing to get through her sister's wards. If only Felicity wouldn't be so difficult. Of course, the excess magic use was having its own lovely side effects, like things coming to life. Naturally, Evie's scarecrow just had to spring to life when Daphne was there one afternoon. Thank the Watcher the Veil was in place to keep mundanes from seeing most of the magical and arcane. And, of course, the day Evie and Daphne were prepping was the day Hugh Morn came over to complain about his daughter-in-law's brother using magic irresponsibly, and to tell her all about a strange spot of thunderstorms in his area recently. Brindleton Bay was known for volatile storms, particularly in the springtime. But no, he thought it was her awful twin sister. Poor Evie was exhausted, trying to keep up with Hugh's coded speech and keep Daphne on track. Unfortunately, the girl was suspicious. Entirely too suspicious for her own good. Evie wished there was a nicer way of telling Mr. Morn that he needed to leave other than, well, hi, leave. She just wasn't that great at telling people no. Oh, this was rather difficult. Patchy wanted to talk. Yes, his name is Patchy. She was struggling to talk to something that Daphne couldn't see. And then Patchy decided to show his true colors. Lovely. The good Fate sister has an evil scarecrow. How that happened, Evie would never know. So your friend is weird, Daphne began. Mr. Hugh? He just likes to talk sometimes. Daphne could not mean the scarecrow. No. Evie did not need to get into trouble today. She was too tired for that. It sounded like a lot more than just talking. What was with the weird speak, though? It sounded weird. Oh, Mr. Hugh works for the police department. He just talks like that, Evie said as she opened the fridge once more. Come on, we have our first sale tomorrow. We need to make more items. To say that it was a great experience for Daphne wouldn't quite be right. She was questioning if detention would have been better. Cooking and working kind of sucked, and Evangeline Fate. What sort of cookie name was that? Plus, this weird tower has got to be haunted. She swore she heard a weird echoing voice when no one was there. Must be the strange vibes. Alas, Friday finally came around and Evie was thrilled. Perhaps tomorrow morning she could sleep in. She was dragging. But the food they had prepared looked amazing and was of the best quality. She had coached Daphne as best she could at the actual selling part, and even though the girl had tried to get out of it, she made sure Daphne showed up and actually tended the table. Evie was delighted to see the food stand was turning up a crowd. Daphne was doing so well. It gave Evie a little time to decompress. Teenagers were hard work. It also gave her time to look into Alice a little more. Social Bunny was still the same old, no new updates, and radio silence on the text messages. Evie still tried, of course, but, well, she knew. She also took a moment to try for her sister again. Frustratingly, nothing. Just where the heck was she? Daphne was super excited later after the sale ended, excitedly squeaking and squealing before Evie could even take a sip of her boba tea. Evie, I made 179 smalls! 179 smalls! All by myself! The girl was so excited, Evie was not about to take away that thunder. That's great, Daphne. What a wonderful sale it was. See, it wasn't so bad, right? Evie smiled. Think of all the good that money is going towards. All the elders who need the donations for activities, medicine, food. We could even make some food for them later and take it, if you would like. Daphne shrugged, sipping on her boba. Yeah, sure, I guess. Thanks for the tea. I didn't know you were that hip. Evie laughed. I'd try. Now it's getting late. You need to get home. I'll walk with you. Well, actually. And with those words, Evie's hopes of the night were dashed. I'm going to go to hang out with some friends. At 10 o'clock at night? Yeah, what's the big deal? Curfew? Nah, not a big deal. Daphne lied. Uh-huh. Okay. And is there going to be alcohol? An adult? Evie already knew the answer. No. And totally. Duh. More lies. Evie sighed. All right, Daphne, here's the deal. I go with you, and I won't bust y'all on the alcohol. Everyone gets home safe. Everyone is safe. Or I tell an authority. What? I just told you there would be no alcohol and an adult there. And you lied, Daff. Take it or leave it. This isn't fair. Ugh, fine. At least you look like you could be my age. Daphne smiled. Daphne. Evie smiled into her boba. It's a good thing I'm hip. It was going to be a long night. Meanwhile, on the east side of Oasis Springs, Felicity was deep in thought. It had been a delightful week of avoiding her sister's magical sight. She actually had to put some effort in. Imagine that. Perhaps her little twin was growing in power. Or perhaps Felicity was getting lax. Either way, her little twin was going to be out all night with a teenager, playing chaperone. Perhaps it was time for a little visit? She did, after all, have something to give to her sister. Of course, Felicity had plenty of time to explore her sister's tower. Wraith. Did her sister enjoy the little visit of ghosties Fel had sent a week or so ago? Evangeline's reaction must have been hilarious. Oh, really? What an obvious place for a hidden room, Evangeline. I thought I taught you better. Felicity huffed upon entering the basement. What could she take? Well. What do we have here, little twin? Is that a money tree seed? Oh, that will surely go to waste here with you. You'll just keep it on a shelf for all eternity to gather dust. Let me just take this off of your hands. Felicity spent a lot of time exploring the tower at her leisure, knowing her sister was still chaperoning well into the morning dawn. It must be exhausting being a good person. But it was when she started going upstairs that she found something that actually surprised her. A baby bassinet? A cute little guest room. What are you up to, Evie? Don't tell me you actually slept with someone. The goody two-shoes you. Perhaps her little twin was more like her than previously thought. Felicity went to raid the fridge next, feeling ever so slightly hungry. She was not the biggest fan of cooking, and her sister's treats were delightful. When they actually tried with their relationship, Evie would bake her treats all of the time. But that was a long time ago. Honey cake, yum. I'll just take that. And 2 dragon fruit, yes please. A whole bunch of strawberries, I'll take the lot, and some grapes for the nectar. I will take half a bushel of apples. I'm not a complete monster. She knew apples were important for Evie's potions of plentiful needs, and Evie was going to need plenty if she was going to follow that teenager around. Again, it must be exhausting being a good person. And as the morning sun began its long trek across the sky, Felicity felt her little twin begin the long, dredging walk home, exhausted out of her mind. It was time for her to leave. Oh, but she almost forgot the entire reason for visiting in the first place. There you go, Evie. It fits so perfectly here in your pastel nightmare. A fitting exchange, I think. A money tree seed and food from your fridge for a priceless painting from your dear sister. Really, this is a generous deal. Checkmate, little twin. Felicity really hoped Evangeline would come up with a more creative way to earn Fel's time, like a curse or something. But she knew her sister too well. Evie was too nice for that. Perhaps this time, though. Perhaps. It was now Evie's turn. Alrighty. Oh gosh, this was a long episode. I do apologize. Gosh, my game surprised me so much with this episode. So like, Evie was struggling. Her mood was like all over the place, and she's very much a social creature, so she was like super like sad that she had nobody to talk to. And I was already kind of considering having her do something like this maybe in the future. And Daphne, the game just randomly had a teenager just randomly knock on the door at that time, and I was just like, oh, well, I guess we can do it now. Which ended up working perfectly in my favor for both this episode and the following, actually. So I really was just thrilled with how things ended up going on. Again, not exactly like my plans, but you know what? That's what I really love about this save file, is I am letting the gameplay kind of dictate, and I'm having fun with it a little bit, you know? It's good. I like it. You might be wondering about the thumbnail and like why this photo is it, and that is because honestly, when I was scripting out this episode, I wanted to do this and the next one in the same episode. No, that would be like a 45-minute long episode. I'm not doing that to y'all. So because these do take some time to put together and, like, script out and stuff. The Brooks Legacy, not as much right now, because, like, I'm going off of, like, old Twitter stuff still, but this one is, like, 100% I script it myself, so, yeah. But the thumbnail I took for that one, I realized wouldn't work for this one, so I was like, well, hell. And I realized, you know what? This is kind of like the middle ground, right? The Evie and Felicity are playing this game of cat and mouse. They're playing a chess game back and forth. So what would be the middle ground between West Oasis Springs, where Evie lives, and East Oasis Springs, where Felicity lives? And that is the middle, actually. The middle of Oasis Springs, where the park is. And that is what is this photo right here. It's kind of the middle ground, right? I don't know, that was kind of my quick scramble today. Because I gotta get this episode out tomorrow. But yeah, speaking of, I have taken up y'all's time entirely too much. I do apologize for that. I hope you're at least enjoying these. I am having a blast telling the story of not only Adam and Alice, but also a bit of Evie and Felicity as well. I like that I get to explore their dynamic through this pressing issue with Alice, because otherwise Evie wouldn't bother. Evie would not bother. She has tried. She is tired. The girl needs a break. Obviously, she's not giving herself one. But yeah, I really, really, really like what I've got planned. So yeah. Thanks for watching. I will see y'all next week, and we will see what Evie's move is. Will the sisters finally get their acts together and actually talk? You know, when pigs fly. No, I'm not going to say that, because then I'd have to figure out how to make that happen. No, I'm not making that happen. But yeah. Have a great Monday, guys, and you got this. We got this. Bye!